Welcome back, history fans. Smash that like button and subscribe to Retrospective Rewinds for more alternate history content. Share this video if you want to see more speculative scenarios explored. Today we're asking, what if Julius Caesar survived his assassination on the Ides of March? How would our modern world be different if Caesar had lived years longer as dictator of Rome? Strap in as we dive into an immersive story, imagining how Caesar's survival could have reshaped civilization all the way to today. In this timeline, the globe is still dominated by descendants of the famed Mongol Empire, thanks to the ripple effects from Caesar's reign. You won't believe how radically changed our present could be based on this ancient twist of fate. Now let's explore this thrilling speculative history tale. The Ides of March came and went in 44 BCE without the fateful betrayal that would have ended the life of Julius Caesar, dictator of the Roman Republic. The conspirators, Cassius and Brutus chief among them, had planned every detail of their attack on the Senate floor that day, but fate intervened. Caesar had been detained that morning dealing with administrative matters of state, delaying his arrival to the Senate. Cassius and Brutus shared alarmed glances as the sun crept higher in the sky, bringing the decisive moment closer while their target was nowhere to be seen. Finally, after what seemed an eternity, Caesar entered the chamber surrounded by his usual retinue of guards and assistants. The conspirators tensed, ready to spring into action, but the meeting concluded without event. The opportunity had passed. Little did the world know how drastically its future path was altered by Caesar's timely delay that day. In the months that followed, talk of assassination plots faded as Caesar continued consolidating his power and reforming the government. The Roman Republic became the Roman Empire in all but name. Caesar retained the Senate but reduced its powers to those of an advisory body. There was no one left with the power or influence to oppose him. In the final years of his long life, Caesar instituted many reforms that would shape Rome for centuries. He centralized authority in his imperial personage and expanded citizenship rights to provincials and foreigners. He reorganized the administrative structure, taxation system, and law codes. Infrastructure projects like roads and aqueducts connected the far reaches of the empire. Caesar also reformed the calendar into the Julian calendar recognizable today. Upon his natural death in 19 BCE, Caesar's adopted son Octavian seamlessly succeeded him as emperor. The orderly transition established the dynastic tradition that would define imperial Rome. Octavian, known later as Augustus Caesar, continued expanding and solidifying the institutions of empire. The Pax Romana, Rome's long period of peace and stability, enabled the expansion of trade, culture, and technology. Rome itself became the dazzling capital of the known world. The impact of a surviving Caesar cannot be overstated. The conspirators hoped his death could restore the Republic, but instead it put Rome irrevocably on the path of empire. Without the chaos following Caesar's assassination, the collapse of the Republic was forestalled for centuries. The Roman Empire at its height stretched from Britain to Egypt, defining the Western world through its many cultural, legal, and linguistic influences. Rome industrialized earlier and more extensively in this timeline, profoundly shaping the path of technology and infrastructure in Europe and beyond. The efficiency and reach of Rome's road networks allowed economic and cultural integration on an enormous scale. Latin emerged as the dominant shared language from Britain to North Africa. Architectural and engineering marvels like aqueducts, bridges, and Roman concrete catalyzed development across the empire. Christianity emerged in Judea on schedule but found a very different empire under unbroken imperial rule. Persecution was ruthless and consistent, driving the fledgling faith underground. Despite pockets of converts here and there, Christianity never achieved the critical mass to become a major religion. It remained an obscure regional cult. Without Christianity's unifying cultural influence, Europe remained fractured between Roman and barbarian domains. This continued division allowed Islam to make rapid gains when it erupted out of Arabia in the 7th century CE. Muslim armies swiftly conquered large swaths of Europe, establishing new centers of literature, science, and culture under the caliphates. Byzantium, direct descendant of Roman Constantinople, clung to parts of Eastern Europe. The tug-of-war between Rome's heritage and the new Islamic civilization defined the age, with slow but steady gains for the caliphate. By the early Middle Ages, scientific and cultural progress stagnated in much of Europe. The memory of Rome's prior achievements haunted the crumbling ruins scattered across the landscape. Fortified manors and feudal kingdoms replaced Roman infrastructure and learning. Meanwhile, the Islamic world became a beacon of art, science, and technology, its universities and libraries preserving the knowledge of antiquity while building new advances in medicine, mathematics, and more. The Renaissance, when it came, was centered in Baghdad, not Italy. Mongol conquerors absorbed the Islamic world in the late Middle Ages, combining its cultural achievements with their own eclectic influences. Military innovations like gunpowder weapons shaped Mongol methods of expansion. The descendants of Genghis Khan continued assimilating new subject tribes and peoples as they pressed westward across Europe. Former Roman territories fell under the Mongol umbrella. Mongol Khans patronized scholarship, science, and arts in the model of Islamic rulers before them. By the early modern era, Europe was divided between a handful of feuding Mongol Khanates and the remnants of independent kingdoms in Britain, Scandinavia, and Western Europe. The age of exploration began differently in this world. Mongol fleets, following old Roman maps and records, rediscovered the Americas and proved the Earth was round centuries before Columbus. Mongol ships linked the Americas to trade networks spanning Europe, Asia, and Africa. The Mongol Khanates drove early industrialization and capitalism to new heights in the ensuing centuries. In the present day, the great Khans continue to rule a globe-spanning Mongol empire from their imperial capital of Khanbaliq. Mongol culture has evolved into a cosmopolitan blend of Asian and European influences, with Latin and Arabic as the languages of scholarship and commerce. North and South America are dotted with great cities steeped in Asian and Islamic architectural traditions, interconnected by trade and communications networks superior to anything in our world. Mongol innovations in transportation like airships and high-speed rail bind their diverse empire. Rome is still the eternal city, but now it pays tribute to the Mongol emperor in far-off Khanbaliq alongside regional governors and loyal vassal kings. It is a very different world today, but who is to say ours is the better one? The dominoes of history tipped in an unexpected direction when Julius Caesar survived the Ides of March. The trajectory of inventions, religions, and explorations that make up our timeline today might look equally alien and fantastic to denizens of the Mongol Empire. But the past cannot be changed. Caesar survived, Christianity faded, Islam triumphed, and the Mongols swept in to establish dominion over the globe. The rest, as they say, is alternate history.